Hey, what's on, guys? So welcome to my spoiler-free review of Justice League Dark. So Justice League Dark is the newest DC animated movie of 2017, which revolves around a new set of characters. So these new characters are John Constantine, Zatanna, Deadman, Etrigan, and Swamp Thing, and of course Batman. So the story is basically about how dark magic that's released from this red ruby called the Dreamstone is causing mass destruction all over different cities over the United States mostly, and turning family, loved ones, co-workers, and pretty much every other human into demons. So we have humans fighting human-looking demons almost. So it's just mass panic all over different cities. And only heroes that have supernatural abilities and magic can stop these demons. So first off, I want to say that I actually really enjoyed this new lineup of characters. It was a nice change from our usual Justice League characters that we always get. And it takes less familiar characters and less popular known heroes and puts them under the spotlight. I won't go into details on each character, but I will say that John Constantine is the main character for this movie. You know, all the story pretty much revolves around him and his abilities. And I'll say he's definitely the most interesting character to watch on screen. Other characters had their moments, especially Zatanna later on in the movie, but for the main attention grabber, it's definitely John Constantine. Also, a fun fact if you didn't already know this, Matt Ryan, the guy who played Constantine in the live action series, is also voicing Constantine in this movie. So I thought that was a really cool way to introduce the character again. Because from what I've heard and seen, Constantine, the live action show, it has some of the most loyal fans out there. You know, because the series ended a while back and the fans are still asking for a return of the series. Without getting too much off topic, the movie did give us a good backstory on a lot of these characters, which was definitely needed, especially if you're not familiar with these kind of characters. In terms of backstory, I'll say that Deadman and Etrigan definitely had the most interesting and best executed backstories in this movie, because they explained it in a lot more detail and actually had footage of their backstories. Because some of the characters, we just kind of heard about their backstory, and some weren't even like really mentioned. Another thing that I really liked is that the movie really focuses on these new characters. Even though the movie does have Batman in it and it's called Justice League Dark, the movie doesn't really focus on the Justice League until the very end of the movie, and that's only for a little bit. But even Batman, he's just kind of there. You know, he's not the one that brings people together. He's just kind of there to help fight these demons and the villains. So I thought that was a really nice change, and it really worked in this movie's favor, and I'd love to see them continue with this kind of formula later on in future movies. Also, if you didn't already know this, the movie is rated R because of increased violence and some dark scenes. But personally, the increased violence wasn't even like that much bigger from the previous movies that we've seen. And yeah, the movie does have a dark atmosphere, but it's not like super dark. It's not like depressing shit. So I'd say a PG-13 rating would have still worked for this movie. But the one thing that really pulled me into this movie was the dark atmosphere of the movie itself, because you're having these dark and supernatural type of characters in this movie. So it only makes sense to have a dark atmosphere, and the way that they did it in this movie, it just works so well. I don't really know how to describe it in words, but when you watch it and you see these characters in this kind of atmosphere, it just fits so well together. So I'm really glad that they went with this kind of approach, and I'd love to see more of this kind of type of atmosphere in future movies that have these kind of characters in them. The only downsides for this movie, I would say, are the dialogue, and some of the characters don't get enough screen time. So for the dialogue, some of the dialogue, like previous movies, felt a little bit corny, and this isn't just a problem with like just a couple of the movies. A lot of these animated movies have this kind of problem. You know, it's just a lot of the dialogue feels kind of corny, and some of the characters' voice acting is just, it doesn't match with the characters. It's not what you expect them to sound like, and it kind of doesn't really get in the way, but it just gets annoying at certain times. So I really wish that they would fix this for future movies. As for the other piece, the only character that did not get enough screen time was Swamp Thing. You know, we do hear his backstory, and when I say we do hear, we literally just hear it. We don't really see what happened in his past. So I was really expecting them to really touch more on this character, because a lot of people don't know this character, and I personally think he's a really interesting character to see in a movie like this. He reminds me a little bit of Groot, just kind of the way that his powers are, the way he like uses plants as like his powers. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but just kind of reminds me of Groot. So I think it was a really big wasted opportunity for this movie, because when he is in the movie, that's the cool part, and then it's cut really short later on, and I won't say why, but it's just, I really wish we saw more of this character throughout the movie. If they do decide to do a sequel for this movie, or bring back these characters in some other type of movie, then I think Swamp Thing should get a lot more screen time. He's one of those characters that deserves more screen time. Overall, guys, I'll say Justice League Dark is a great movie and an improvement from previous DC animated films, with new characters getting the spotlight and a much darker atmosphere. Warner Bros. And DC prove that not all movies need to be based on Justice League and all the well-known type of characters. Overall, Justice League Dark is an 8.5 out of 10. That's all I've got for you guys. If you enjoyed this video, then smack that like button, as always appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button to see more content like this. See you guys next time.